Hi, Ifoma Okoli here. Let's get into when love gets toxic.
The issue at hand is a lot. It's really heart-wrenching. This story that I'm going to go into today, wow. It's the story of that has been making the rounds of the lady who just passed on, God rest her soul, Bimbo. The story of IVD and Bimbo. You know, at first I don't know if I like to go into these issues as much, but it's very necessary to discuss and to kind of learn, because some things come to light not just as entertainment. In fact, it's not entertainment, because a lot of people have taken it as entertainment, you know, just lovers blog, and a lot of people, you know, talking about it, less the CEO, people on the internet, maybe just you know, just because of the intrigue, I guess, you know. For the families, it's really it's really heartbreaking. It's really sad how everything went down. I'm just going to go through, you know, the little history that, you know, has been out there about this couple, and break down what really happened, you know. How did it happen? How did it get to this? Okay, so first and foremost, there's a lot of data. There are lots of videos, lots of voice notes, a lot on the internet, you know, that has come out about this couple, that they put out there by themselves, actually, on the internet, you know, showing their lifestyle, showing everything that has been happening. They have 5 children together. So for me, it's really, how will I say, it's disturbing. It's very disturbing to me that all these videos are on the internet, all these voice notes are on the internet. And the internet does not forget. All of this has come out to kind of shape and tell the story of what has been going on. From all the evidence that is out there on the internet, apparently IVD and Bimbo, they got married when they got together when they were really young, and up until this time, before she passed on, they've been together for about 2 decades, and they have 5 children together. And they met when they were really young. Bimbo dropped out of school to be with IVD and to support him, you know, at that time, you know. And it's said that she got pregnant and you know, had to drop out of school, get married to IVD, and then they started their lives together, you know. And it said that her parents did not want her to be with IVD. They were like, no, go back to school, finish your school, and then you can continue, you know. But they were so in love. She was so in love with IVD. They were so in love. You know, young love can be very deceptive, y'all. It can be very strong. See, like when you're so young and you're so in love, and that's all you want to hear about. You don't want to hear about any other thing, right? You know, it said that she was really into, she wanted to see him make it so badly. She wanted to see her husband make it so badly. So whatever he was into, she joined him. Whether it was drugs, you know, they got into drugs at one time. It said that they were into drugs. They became wealthy off of the drugs, okay? And then eventually they both became drug users, okay? And you can see this on video. She has videos about talking about it. When there are 2 videos distinctly out there. One of where she would videoed him using drugs, injecting himself, I think it was with cocaine, that looked like cocaine or something, injecting himself with cocaine, and she was, you know, yelling at him, talking about, you know, look at what you're doing, and you say I'm the one who uses and everything. And then there was another argument they had, and it was also on video, where he left the house and he was outside, you know, and she was talking about him injecting himself, you know, that she wasn't going to allow him to inject himself and everything, you know. And then there's another video she made, and that video, she had bandages all over her hand, and she was advising people not to get into drug use, you know. So a lot of indications, and a lot of people, you know, indicated that both of them were drug users, both of them, and somebody also alleged to the fact that a nurse would come over and help inject them with drugs. After a while, they learned how to do it themselves. Eventually, I think her husband his leg, I think they didn't do it well enough. His leg started having issues from them injecting the drugs themselves, you know. So now they were going through all of that, and then their businesses started to suffer. At a point, with the drug use, everything business started to suffer. And at this point in time, they said that she began to search out voodoo doctors, like, you know, witch doctors, and to go and perform rituals and all manner of things that were being said. That after she did all that, her husband, you know, started to do very well again, okay, and things got better money wise, okay. So after things got better, it is said, alleged, that IVD, that's Bimbo's husband, went back into, you know, chasing women. A lot of things went down. So she saw that her husband was not repentant. Bimbo saw that her husband was not repentant, and things started to go down again. And it is said that she refused to continue the rituals she was doing for him. And at this point, when she saw he wasn't changing, she decided she was going to leave. You know, she decided she was going to leave him. At this point, again, they had lost all that's what is being said out there with evidence, that they've lost all their properties, and what was left was just the one house where they live in with their children. And Bimbo was saying she's gonna keep this house, that she's done everything she can to help IVD Ikechukwu, that's her husband, and he's not changing. That she decided that she's gonna leave him, but he has to live, and she will keep the house and everything. But at this point in time, and before all this, please let me backtrack. Before all this, they've been having like very violent issues. They would have like violent issues where they wound each other during their quarrels and fights. There's a video where IVD put out that she had wounded him and scratched him. There was one time she had set some fire to the house prior to this final incident that happened that led to her passing. So I don't know. I'm really concerned about their children getting to see all of this turbulence. And it was said that there was a time when she was pregnant for, was it a third child? And I think, was it the third or the fourth child? And he beat her into a coma. He beat her up so bad she ended up in a coma. Okay. So when she got out of the coma, at that time, her family said, no, you are not going back to this man. They said, no, this marriage is ended. Bimbo, come back home. But after some time, Bimbo went back to IVD, and they continued having children up until where they had 5 children. When things are this bad, I think is this at this point that a couple should start considering their children. If a couple is going through so much, that terrible stuff, I think that's the point they should start considering leaving, as in separating, for the sake of their children, for the sake of their children's mental health. This is the point where they should decide that, you know what, we're going our separate ways so that we can save these children's minds, we can save these children. Even if right now we are not able to save ourselves, let's save our children. I feel they are both selfish to carry on this obsessive love and destructive, toxic love to where they destroyed, they were not seeing anything but what they wanted. You know, they were no longer seeing anything, they just were selfish, I think, at this point in time. IVD going for whatever made him happy, drugs, women, you know, out there. And Bimbo, I feel, going after him and saying, hey, you know what, you're the one I have given my life for, I've done a lot of odd things with you, at the end of the day I'm not going to lose out. And that was why that's what she was, you know, a lot of the fights were about all of that, until it got to the point where they had lost everything and she saw he wasn't going to change. And it was at this point in time, you know, that now let's get back to present day, where she said, okay, we're finally going to separate. I'm no longer going to be doing all these rubbish rituals for you, whatever, according to the evidence that people have put out there and the voice notes and everything. That she's decided that she's no longer going to, and there were actually witnesses there when this actually happened. Their neighbor even took a video of this from, and I heard the video is really gory because of the fire and everything that happened. So on this particular day, she has decided she's had it. She's no longer continuing with this. She wants to move on with her life, and she tells her husband IVD, you know what, I'm taking this house, you need to go and start your life. I'm no longer doing this, you know. So IVD had the house papers, and he was going to leave, and he was going to leave her and the children. At this point, she was like, no, you're not going anywhere. What will I use to take care of our 5 children? So no, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to give me the house papers. So that was the arguments. And then, but at this point in time, she was now saying, hey, if I'm not going to get this house, you're not going to get this house either. Okay, so that was where at the point she lit, she poured some petrol, they said, poured some petrol and lit the house on fire. And as the house was burning, I heard 2 of the children were at home, and those 2 children escaped because of the argument. And she's dragging IVD. She's saying, okay, you're not going anywhere. You're not going to leave this place. You're going to give me this house. Either that or 2 of the house is going to burn down. None of us is going to get the house. At that point in time, her husband, IVD, pushes her off of him. And in pushing her off himself, because he wanted to go, he pushed her into the fire and left the house. This story is so sad. Actually, it's very sad how bad things can degenerate to if you do not do something about it on time. And then that was where she was in the fire and managed to get out of the fire. But at this point in time, her entire front was burnt completely, as in she was completely burnt. And it said that it took her to about her friend or neighbor, somebody, or I think it's her sister or somebody that was doing the video, taking her around to different hospitals, and no hospital wanted to take her in because she was too badly burnt up. In Lagos, they didn't want to take her in because she was badly burnt. Finally, is it the 13th hospital that agreed to take her in? By then it was too late. Some days afterwards, Bimbo passed on. She died of the burns. I think it's 3rd-degree burns because the burns were so bad. Okay, so she died. And now, after that, IVD, her husband, went into hiding. But at this point in time, the police said they've made an arrest. They've arrested him, and that he's in police custody at this time. So that's where we are with the matter. So at the end of the day, I would say that was it was an obsessive kind of love, you know. It was love that was harming. They were harming themselves. So at a point they trapped themselves so badly. I'm sure they had like so many secrets, you know, from all that is alleged. So I'm thinking they just had to now stay with each other until it got so bad. And then lastly, which, you know, a lot of people are putting out there that, you know, Bimbo was saying that she had contracted HIV virus from her husband, and it was one of also the major reasons why she decided, okay, no, I'm done, because yeah, his lifestyle, it wasn't sustainable. And she was like, you know, I've had it, I need to go and live and take care of my kids and concentrate on my kids at that. But right now she can't do any of that because she's gone. And from the looks of things, if they indict her husband and everything, nobody will be available to take care of their 5 children. None of the parents will be available to take care of their 5 children. But what this story is showing a lot of stuff. First and foremost, when you're with somebody, when you say you love somebody, don't give up your principles, your guiding principles, your guiding lights. Don't give up your lights for darkness. Don't give up your lights for darkness. Don't follow somebody into hell. Like, at the end of the day, she followed him into, you know, with all that is alleged and all that is out on the internet. They both apparently were having affairs. Both of them were into drug use. At the end of the day, if you're endangering your love for somebody causes you to become somebody that you don't want to be, it's causing you to go down very dark lanes and dark alleys, it's no longer healthy. At that point in time, when it starts to become that way, take a walk. Then when all these things were happening, for me, I would say at that point she should have cut off out having children. somebody's beating you up, and there's abuse, physical abuse going on, you all are beating each other, wounding each other, it's not a good environment to bring in more children into. You all are always quarreling, there are drugs in the house. It's not a good environment to bring up children in. So I would say, we should learn when to take a walk. That, sometimes taking a walk means that, you know what, you're going to allow that other person, if they really love you, to begin to turn their lives around, to turn things around for the best, because at some point when Bimbo wants to walk away, there was a video that came out. He was crying and asking Bimbo, oh, don't go, you're the only thing I have in this life, if you go I have nothing. And he was crying in that video and asking for her forgiveness to come back and everything, and obviously she did, but there's a point where you have to say, you know what, enough is enough. We can't carry on like this. No matter how much the person is crying and saying all these things, because if you go back with the same thing, things will continue the way that they've always been going. Sometimes you have to put yourself and the children first. If you're the partner that is being abused or victimized, or if you're the partner who's being dragged into somebody else's vices, you have to learn when to take a walk, or when you need to separate yourself from that person, so that you don't enable the person's vices, and you don't get dragged into that person's vices as well. So theirs was a ride or die kind of relationship that was bad for her, and it was bad for the children. At the end of the day, it cost her life. I really, really pray for the family, for the children, that God will comfort the children and heal those children of that mental issues that might come out of these things that they've seen throughout the years with their parents. That's my prayer, that God will heal the children. I don't know, those videos, I don't think people should put up the videos anymore of the parents with the drugs in front of them, and talking about the drugs, and all this stuff. So this will definitely get better for those children. That's my prayer, because the children should not have to suffer for their parents' sins. That's what I believe. I believe that everybody just carry your own cross. Don't put it upon your children. It's not their fault. That you're becoming a terrible person because of staying with somebody that you say you love. Take a walk. That's that story. Okay, the other story now, okay, that I'm going to go into real quickly is the lawyer who died chasing her husband and her husband's girlfriend. So there's this lawyer lady, a barrister, and one day her friend saw the husband out with his girlfriend or a mistress or something like that, and the friend calls the barrister lady up and says, hey, I saw your husband all cozy and lovey-dovey with some lady somewhere at this mall. Gave her the address and everything. So the barrister lady set out to go to the mall. When she gets to the mall, she sees her husband truly in a lovey-dovey position in the mall with his mistress. And when the husband saw her, he took off in his car, and the barrister lady follows him in her own vehicle, and they are having like a drag race, okay, on the roads of, is it Calabar? I think this happened in Calabar or Oyo. Anyways, they were on high speed, and at a bend, the barrister lady, her car goes out of control and slams into a tree, and she dies on the spot. So her husband that she was chasing, seeing that she had an accident, came back to the scene where she had an accident, and ran to his wife, ran to the car that was already smashed into the tree, and then he starts to bring the mangled body of his wife out of the car. She died in his arms, according to the reports. He also went into a coma from that shock. And they also have children. I don't know, these two stories they have some similarities, okay? Vices and vices. Most people are prone to vices, but at this point, these stories beg for us to look into these vices and say, there are some things that are not not worth dying for. Many men in the society will go out there and they have all these mistresses and everything, and they are all out there in public disrespecting their marriages, disrespecting their wives, and causing all these problems. So let there be self-control, let there be decorum. Now the woman is dead, the man is in coma. Okay, the other story, the lady, she's dead, the husband is now facing charges, criminal charges. All for what? All these things that can be avoided, may God help us to avoid them. May God help us to avoid them. And I've noticed that you cannot help another person's action, but you can help your own action. You can help your own reaction. And to women, to men, and even women, I'll say, let us curb as much as possible our vices. Let's curb our vices. Let's talk to ourselves. These things that I'm about to do, is it going to benefit me or my family? And let's be prayerful. God will help you. If there's a vice that you have, something is holding you back from being great, addicted to something bad, let's be prayerful. God can help us, because if you have the willpower, if you want to do it, if this is a desire of yours to change and to be better, God will help you to change and to be better. And there's nothing that the devil can give you that is good. Every pleasure you think you're getting from being bad or seeking out ritualists or doing drugs or selling out drugs or whatever, or having side affairs from your marriage, every of those pleasures, they have consequences, very bad consequences. We have seen the extreme consequences in these cases. So it's left for us to look, because I believe some things come to light for a reason. All these things, they've been happening for a long time. All these ones is just because they are on social media, so we are seeing it. You understand? Because if these things were never on social media, there was no video, there was no voice records, there was no voice notes, or all these things that they are now showing, as evidence, nobody would know. And but I feel like these things are coming to light, so everybody can begin to adjust themselves. We can all begin to adjust ourselves as the ones, as women, to know how to stay calm and know how to conduct ourselves. If peradventure you're faced with a partner that is not a good partner, that is bad for you, to know what to do, to keep calm and keep moving. If you have to separate. If you feel like the person is bad for your mental health, if you feel like the person is causing you to go crazy, please, you can separate if you feel that way. And then hopefully if the person turns around and becomes better, then you people can continue. But at a point where you're in a place, this you want to go crazy, you start doing crazy things. Because what caused this lady to enter the car and start chasing her husband, at that point in time, so she gave in to just the anger, the bitterness. She reacted at that point in time. Also, same thing with Bimbo. There was a reaction to the anger and the bitterness and everything that has been boiling up inside her because of what he has been doing. So, once you notice that somebody's ways are beginning to make you become crazy, you have to now talk to yourself. Find a way to calm yourself down, put things into place. And if you need to leave that environment with your children, then do. If eventually the person decides to come back around to become the proper husband or proper wife that they should be, then you people will continue the marriage. If not, you just need to continue. Because sometimes, until somebody decides that they are going to change, until somebody decides by themselves to change, nothing will change. Until somebody decides that they will change for themselves, nothing will change. So you have to make your decision, regardless of what the other person is doing, and make a better decision. Be the one who is the bigger person, so that the children will not have to suffer. In all these cases we have seen, there were children involved, and there was somebody who was a victim to the other person's, toxicity, and allowed the other person's toxicity to enslave them or to make them become, combative and all that, and even lose themselves. So may God help us all, because these things are not easy, and these things are happening on a daily basis in so many different homes, just like that, in different forms. Also, a lot of women need to start getting empowered, need to start getting financially empowered, because at the end of the day, a lot of women were in Bimbo's shoes, to where, hey, you know what, you've given all yourself to this other person and you did not develop your life. You have no income coming in. All your life was doing everything for the other person and for the children, and you had nothing coming in. So in that case, most women feel trapped and feel like, hey, you know what, I've invested too much in this person to leave, even though the person might be very toxic. She could not leave because she had no she had invested too much and she had no funds to go and take care of 5 children on her own. So God help us, and let's just remember, contentment is key. If you have to leave for your sanity and to protect the children and protect yourself, do so. If the relationship can be mended in the future and the other person decides to mend their ways, things can still come back together. But wow. And if you ever think that the person will never change, then don't go back, don't put yourself back in the same situation to where things will eventually end with somebody dying. So may we all learn and take our own, lessons from all these things that are going on out there. God bless all of us and keep us safe, and help us to take care of ourselves and our loved ones the right way, and to protect ourselves from the vices of the devil, because it comes in little by little. It seems to make sense when you get into, doing whatever it is that is bad for you. Sometimes it makes sense. I need this, let me do this. My wife is not giving me peace at home, so let my girlfriend give me peace, outside. All those things, you start to get, you say, okay, Nigeria is bad, we need money, so let's get into, doing whatever it is, bad stuff to get money. And at the end of the day, everything crumbles, because nothing from the devil will give you peace at the end of the day. So may God help us all. Until next time, don't forget to click the like or the subscribe button for more videos, to get more videos as they drop on the channel. Alright, y'all, take care. Bye bye.